Morning, guys. So today we'll be doing from the AC chapter itself. The portion is actually the continuation of LC. So if you actually today we'll be continuing two topics, that is some of the pending from LCR as well as LC circuit. So first we'll finish off LC circuit. So because that was the last portion we took, right? So first today we'll be taking proof of conservation of energy. Okay, conservation of energy in LC circuit. The question is straight away asked whether the energy is conserved in LC circuit, and you're asked to prove that. Then this is way, or the following which I'm going to take today is what you are supposed to write in your paper. Right, we know that LC circuit is having total energy which is conserved, right? That energy is actually shared between magnetic energy as well as electrical energy. Magnetic energy in the inductor and electrical energy in capacitor, right? We also we also drew a lot of diagrams and we learned it completely, right? And previously we told that at t is equal to 0, when I consider t is equal to 0, initially I told that the capacitor is fully charged. So the capacitor is having maximum charge Q naught, right? So and charge in it, this Q naught or Q inside the capacitor, we wrote it in a cosine form, that is Q is equal to Q naught cos omega t. And we also wrote for current, that is I is equal to I naught sin omega t. And we also wrote, remember, I is equal to, or I naught is equal to an expression for it or is Q naught omega, right? So this expression and this expression we have got. Then we also have learned in second chapter or third chapter, right, where energy stored in a capacitor is Q naught square, Q squared by 2C. Since at t is equal to 0, the charge is is maximum, that is Q naught. The energy stored in the capacitor at that time, that is at t is equal to 0, initially is Q naught squared by 2C. This much clear? Now after say some time, that is t is equal to t, at a t interval, some of this, that is maximum charge, will go on reducing and the charge becomes, let's say, less charge than maximum value, that is Q. And due to the flow of charges there will be a current. Let's say that current is I, not maximum current but medium current I. So now the charge is Q, and the current is I. Then the energy, total energy, is actually shared between the capacitor and inductor. Hence I can say energy stored in capacitor plus energy stored in inductor is total energy. Then energy stored in capacitor, I will write it as Q squared by 2C plus inductor energy is half Li square, right? Now I am going to substitute Q and I value from the above equation, that is Q naught cos omega t and I naught sin omega t. So that now the expression becomes here E is equal to, in place of Q naught, I will write it as Q naught square cos squared omega t divided by 2C plus 1 by 2L I naught square sin squared omega t, right? Now I also know, I just wrote before, right, I naught is equal to Q naught omega. So this expression I can write Q naught square cos squared omega t divided by 2C plus half L Q, right, Q naught squared omega squared sin squared omega t. Right, now this omega also has an operation. Remember, we used to write omega is equal to 1 by root LC. Then omega squared is equal to 1 by LC. Putting this omega squared is equal to 1 by LC in the above equation, you will get Q naught squared cos squared omega t by 2C plus half L Q naught square. In place of omega square, I will write L by C or 1 by LC sin square omega t. So I can cancel L, right? So this term, that is Q naught square by 2C, is common in this two section. So I can write Q naught square by 2C as common, and I will get cos square omega t plus sin square omega t. In mathematics and trigonometry, you have learned this value as 1. Right. So I will get energy's equation as E is equal to Q naught square by 2C. That is, energy earlier when there was only capacitor, right, the energy was in Q naught square by 2C, and now the energy when it is shared between inductor and capacitor, then it was also Q naught square by 2C. Based on this condition, I can say there will be some situation when the capacitor is not at all having energy, right, it has zero energy. That time the inductor will have the maximum energy. When the inductor is not having energy, that is zero energy, that time the energy will be fully in capacitor, right? So what is the expression for inductor? That say that is in this condition, energy's equation will be half L I naught square, that is maximum current is flowing in that condition. Whereas when the energy is stored completely in capacitor, it will be Q naught squared by C, right? So I can say since the energy is conserved, this EL will be equal to EC, right? That is, I can write half Q naught squared by C is equal to half Li naught squared, right? When energy is conserved, guys. Clear? Now let's move on with a simple problem, guys. It's very simple. You guys can just solve it by looking at the question itself. Now the question is, I'm having a capacitor like this, then I am having a switch, then another capacitor. Let's say this is C2, it's capacitor, okay. Okay, there is an inductor here, there is an inductor here, right? Let's say this inductor is 5 millihenry, this capacitor is 3 microfarad, and this is also 3 microfarad. So this is C1, right? Now suppose the question is like this: if the capacitors C1 and C2 were initially charged with a 20 volt supply, right, initially when they were not connected to this circuit, the C1 and C2 was charged by 20 volt supply, and then it was removed from the supply and then connected in the circuit, right, and the switch was closed. So what will be the natural frequency, right? And second question is, what is the maximum current in the circuit? You're asked what is I naught. Clear? Simple, right? So how can I solve for natural frequency? So natural frequency, you remember, F is equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC, right? So what C? It should be equivalent capacitance. So since 3 microfarad is parallel with another 3 microfarad, so the net capacitor value will be C1 plus C2, or it is 6 microfarad. You have to add these two, guys. So I can write this expression 2 pi root. What is L value? It is 5 into milli, right? 10 to the power minus 3 into C equivalent is 6 microfarad, that is 6 into 10 to the power minus 6, right? So that is equal to 1 by 2 into 22 by 7 means 7 goes up. So 22 root. Then you can take around, okay, I'm going to change the value. Okay, sorry guys, why? Because I want the answer to look good. So let's make this one as 2, so that the equivalent capacitance will be 3 plus 2, that is 5. 3 and 2 is parallel, so this is 5 microfarad. So that, see, when I take root, 5 root, so the 5 can go outside, that's why. Okay, I'm going to rub this section. Okay, so 5, I brought it outside. Then 10 to the power minus 9 raised to 1 by 2, right? Oh, that it looks odd, no? It's okay. Now you will get around what, 7. Then this will be how much? 9 will be 4.5. So let's take this as 9 by 2 upward divided by 2 into 22 by into 5. This value is 10 to the power 4.5. I'll take it as 10 to the power 5. Quite close, right? Then you will get around how much? I believe you will get around what? Let's say 7. Then there are 5 zeros. Then there is 44 into 5. 44 into 5 is 20. Then 2, 220, 220. Then 22 raised that 3. right? 66, then there is 440. 40 means, again, let's take 3, it will be quite close to 320, right? 320 hertz, right? This and all are is problem I just put, guys. It is not an actual correct numerical questions. Right, now the second question which was asked was maximum current. You know, maximum current is equal to q naught omega, right? And maximum q naught, right, we have to find maximum charge, is C equivalent into V, right? Q is equal to CV. Now you are having 5 microfarad, so 10 to the power minus 6 into what was the voltage supply, 20 volt, right? So you'll get 100 into 10 to the power, you will get 10 to the power minus 5 coulomb, right? Then you have to find I naught, so put 10 to the power minus 5, which is micro coulomb, right? No, just 10 to the power minus 6, so let's write it as 100 microcoulomb, right? Then I can substitute here, that is 100 microcoulomb, ouch, right? 100 microcoulomb, that is 10 to the power minus 6 into what is omega. Omega will be 1 by root LC. Put the values and calculate, guys. Right, I'm just giving you how to solve the question, guys. Obviously, since the figures I have used is a little bit complicated numbers, you will not get a proper answer, but you can understand the logic of how to solve it, right? That's what is important here. Now LCR circuit, here's something which is pending, right? So what was an LCR circuit? It had an inductor, it has a capacitor and a resistor. Now how does our fan work? In our daily life you use a regular fan, right? So you have a regulator, and regulator has a knob. You turn the knob and you control the speed of the fan. So when you have suppose you turn and keep at 5, you will have maximum current, and when it is 0 there will be zero current, right? Maximum current means the resistance is minimum here, whereas here the resistance is maximum, right? When the resistance is maximum, there is no current. When resistance is minimum, there is higher current. This is the logic. So when you are selecting the speed of a fan, you are actually selecting the resistance. When you require least amount, or you want less amount of turning or speed of a fan, what you will do, you will turn the knob so that you increase the resistance. Clear? Now what happens when you are using a radio, right? When you are using a radio, we change the knob, right? You hear a high disturbance when you are not properly hearing. Suppose I want to hear 93.5 club FM. I don't know whether it is red FM, I think, right? I don't remember. Suppose it is 93.5 for red FM. I want to turn the radio slightly above it. Let's say if the knob is at 93, you will hear a lot of disturbance until it reaches the 93.5 point. Only you actually hear the music. Now actually you know that 93.5 is actually a frequency, and it is 93.5 megahertz. Okay. Now what you do, that is turning this knob and selecting this 93.5 and turning at all until you reach that value, or until you hear a proper music. That process is known as tuning, right? This is what is known as tuning. You tune the radio to get a proper radio station, right? Now in FM radio we have, which is known as actually an LCR circuit, right? So LCR circuit is something which is having a application of working as an tuning circuit. So one of the application of LCR circuit is it can be used for tuning purpose. Now, so how can it be used as a tuning circuit, or something which we are going to discuss now. Clear? So how? So that is, when you turn the knob, actually you are changing the LC value. That is, actually I told you it is an LCR circuit, right? So in this LCR circuit, you are changing this value. Actually, when you are turning the knob, you change the L and C value, so that for a particular value of frequency, right? So for a particular value of frequency, suppose this 93.5 etc. right? For a particular frequency, the resistance of the circuit will become minimum, right? That is 93.5 megahertz, right? So current in the circuit will become maximum, right? We want the current to become maximum, right? For corresponding to which frequency? To this frequency, right? So at this frequency, when you change the value of LC, that is what happens when you change or you turn the knob, you change the value of LC in such a way that resistance of this entire LCR circuit becomes minimum, and so that the current will become maximum. When current becomes maximum, you will get the maximum what? Audibility. Yeah, that is what is happening in a tuning circuit. So what you want? You want the resistance to become least so that the current will be maximum. So you know, for an LCR circuit, the net resistance is known as impedance, and it is Z is equal to XL minus XC whole square plus R square. Right? Do you know? Right. The for how can the current be maximum? When the Z is minimum. When can the Z be minimum? When Z is equivalent to R. Right? Least value, the resistance can never be zero, right? The total resistance of LCR circuit cannot be zero. The minimum value that the total resistance of an LC circuit can be minimum is, the minimum value is what? Is R. That is, this and this goes off and there is only resistor in this circuit. That is the minimum condition. So how can I make Z into R value? When XL is equal to XC. When XL is equal to XC, this term goes off, then Z will be equal to root of R square, that is R, right? So XL is equal to XC is the condition when Z is minimum. So when I write XL is equal to XC, what is the value of XL? It is 1 by L omega, and what is XC? It is C omega. Or I can write omega squared is equal to 1 by LC. Or I can write omega is equal to root LC. This is something you have learned earlier, right? That is in the case of LC circuit, right? And in here I will write omega is, right, 2 pi f, and I will write root LC, or I can say f is equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC, right? This was known as natural frequency in the case of an LC circuit, whereas in the LCR circuit this is known as resonant frequency. Resonant frequency. Clear? So what is resonant frequency? Resonant frequency actually is corresponding frequency, right? The frequency corresponding to which the impedance of the circuit becomes minimum, or it becomes equal to the resistive value, or when the current is maximum, right? The frequency corresponding to which the LCR circuit, right, becomes just purely resistive in nature, or I can say when the current is flowing in the LCR circuit is maximum, that frequency when that is happening is known as a resonant frequency, right? So we add just the value of L and C such a way that 1 by, in the case of when you want 93.5 hertz or megahertz, what happens? You change the value of L and C such that 1 by 2 pi root LC will be equal to 93.5. So 2 pi is constant, you change the L and C value so that this expression will be equal to 93.5. Hence you get the value or get the song. Okay, clear? Now there is another thing which you have to deal with, which is graphical representation. How can we graphically represent the entire thing which we talked about? Now graphical representation of impedance, right? This is impedance, and how does the impedance change with respect to frequency, right? That is at a particular frequency. Let's say this one, okay? At this frequency the impedance is minimum, so I can say this is the minimum. So I can plot the Z value like this. Initially the Z is a constant type, then it reduces and reaches the minimum value at f0, and f0 I'm going to name that as our resonant frequency, right? And at f0 the impedance value equals to what? R. right? Clear? This is the graphical representation for it. Now, similarly, if you are asked to draw the diagram for current and frequency, right? So for this corresponding, this is F naught. So at F naught, the current will be maximum, and this maximum current is our I naught. Clear? Simple, right? Now let's move on with something which you have to know about sharpness. Now my question is, if you have two diagrams like this, I'm going to draw a smaller one here, right, for current and frequency itself, right? And this is F naught, another F naught dash, let's say, and here the graph is like this. That means this is having much more sharpness than this one. So out of these tuning circuits, or I can say out of these two, this is an LCR circuit 1, this is LCR circuit 2. Now out of these two circuit, which is much more good? Which circuit is good, I will say? How can I say whether a circuit is good or not? By looking at a current frequency graph of an LCR circuit. It's very easy, guys. See, in the case of here, right, I can say first figure. So here, this much point, let's say, right? So let's say this is 93.5, this is 93, this is 94. So in 93 also you are not having maximum current, but good amount of current is there, right? Similarly at 94 also there is good amount of current. Obviously at 93.5 you are having maximum current, but at 93 you are having a much more good current, right? Similarly 94 frequency is also having high current, not the maximum, high current. So that means I can hear some sound at when you're having 93. That means when you're tuning, you reach 93 itself, so you will hear some song, not what properly, but little bit disturbance will be there, but you will hear some song. Similarly at 93.5 you will get clear clarity will be there without any disturbance, and whereas at 94 again you will be hearing. So you can say that from 93 hertz to 94 hertz you can hear the song, but the song will be highly disturbed. Clear? Whereas here, see, the range, this maximum frequency is only for this one, right? So the disturbance will be very least. You will never hear, or the least amount of disturbance or noise will be there in this condition. So I can say how much sharp the current frequency graph is, that much quality the music will be, or the sound frequency will be. So how much sharpness increases, that much increase in quality. Clear? So whenever you go for an LCR circuit, always the LCR circuit, if it wants to, or you want it to be a tuning circuit, its current frequency graph should be steep, right? It should be highly sharpened graph. Clear? I hope this much is clear. We'll talk a little bit about our bandwidth. Sorry for the disturbance, guys. So what do you mean by bandwidth? See, suppose I want to listen, and I want to listen only Doordarshan, right? I want to see only one serial, let's say a serial. In between, by chance, another program came up from another channel. So it is a disturbance, right? I will say that is actually in physics it is known as noise. Now what you heard is a noise, okay? So this is a particular frequency signal you are learning, even if it is a recorded class. Anyways, so what was I telling? Okay, so you want a particular channel to be there on your screen, you don't want another channel to come up or overlap on it, right? So that is known as noise, and or I can say it is a disturbance. So what the government told is each channel, right, let's say one is Doordarshan and the other is Asianet, let's say. So Doordarshan is given a band or a range of frequency, let's say 200 to 300. So Doordarshan's any signal should only lie between 200 hertz and 300 hertz or 300 megahertz. And Asianet is given as say 400 to 500. So this range is for them, right? So this is actually a band of frequency. So a band of frequency is given for a particular channel, and that band is known as bandwidth, right? That range of frequency which can transmit or which is carrying the required signal is known as bandwidth, right? So when you draw, let's say an IF, this is our I, right? This is our frequency wave. So if you can write in place of F, you can even draw omega, right? So this is our waveform, remember, sharpness, right? So this peak is for maximum current, let's say I naught. So this is the resonant frequency F naught, right? So let's say take a value I naught by root 2, right? For I naught for root 2, I get two frequency here. This is F1 and this is F2. Let's say this F1 and F2 are equidistant from F0, right? This will be equidistant, right? This F1 to F2, this is known as our F1 minus F2 or F2 minus F1. This is known as bandwidth. F2 will be larger, right? So it is usually F2 minus F1. This value is known as bandwidth. Clear? Right? So bandwidth. So suppose this is the figure or which you drawn as is the figure or for one channel, let's say channel 1, right? So the other channel, let's say 2, can have, let's say I will draw with another color, can have say the waveform like this, right? So from F2, let's say from here to another value, let's say this one, so that this is F0 dash. For the F0 dash is the resonant frequency for another channel. So that channel can have the bandwidth from F2 to, let's say, F3. Clear? So that this is required F0 dash. See, required frequency is F0 dash, and this is F0, which is the refined frequency of channel 1. So they have, see, F2 minus F1 is the bandwidth for channel 1 and F3 minus F2 is the bandwidth for channel 2. Clear idea? Hope you understood. Now see the condition which you started, right? That is known as a resonance, which you have actually learned. That is when Z, that is the impedance of the LC circuit, becomes least, that is becomes value is R, that condition is known as a resonance of an LCR circuit. So when does an LCR circuit act as an tuning circuit? When it is in resonance. So when an LCR circuit is in resonance, at resonance, it acts as a tuning circuit. Clear? Now for the rest part, we again continue with our frequency graph or current frequency graph, guys. Now as we see the graph, I draw it like this, right? And in place of F, I told you in place of F you can even write omega. Why? Omega is equal to pi F, right? That is omega and F are proportional, so I can also write angular frequency here, and the graph will look like the similar one. So that this, where I write omega naught or omega 0, this is known as what? Angular frequency at which the resonance happens, or I can say resonant angular frequency, right? Now I am going to depict two further points in frequency section, that is omega 1 and omega 2, and this is corresponding to the current which I wrote as I naught by root 2, and the peak one is I naught, right? Clear? Same as that of the previous figure. Now guys, we know in the case of AC, the maximum current which can flow is IRMS, right? So here in place of I naught, I can even write as what? Here I am going to change and I will write as IRMS, and this is IRMS by root 2. Clear? Right? And in textbook I root 2 is written as 0.707, right? 1 by root 2's value is 0.707 IRMS. Okay, so the same. Clear? Now let me point this as A, this as B, and this as C. Okay, now at point A, if I want to calculate the power, it will be I square into V, right? So I square here will be IRMS square, that is a peak or at power at A, IRMS squared into V, or that means since the maximum current is there and voltage potential is constant, right? So since maximum current is highest at the point A, I can say here what occurs is maximum power, or I write as P max, which is IRMS squared into V. Clear? Now what is power at B and C? Because both are at equivalent points, right? Omega 1 is equivalent distance from omega naught, and omega 2 is equivalent distance from omega naught, right? So power at B and C, here I will write power is equal to, here it is IRMS by root 2 whole squared into V, or I can write it as IRMS squared into V by 2. Right, what is IRMS squared into V? We have just written as P max. So I can write this as maximum power by 2. Right, that is at point B and C, the power we have is only half of the maximum power. This much is clear, right? Half power, right? Now remember I told you about if this was F1 and this was F2, F2 minus F1 was what? Our bandwidth, right? Now similarly here I can, as per the figure which I currently drew, I can also write omega 2 minus omega 1, right? There will be a difference. I can write it as omega 2 minus omega 1, and I will write it as delta omega. This term is known as half power bandwidth. Why half power? Because at omega 1 and omega 2, corresponding to that 2 points, you are having only half power, right? Corresponding to these 2 points, you have only half the power, maximum power. Clear? This much clear? So omega 1, so omega 2 minus omega 1, which is written as delta omega, is known as half power bandwidth. Clear? Right? Now, similarly, if we draw the figure, this have taught you before also, but I am going to write or term it in a different manner. That's why I drew a graph. This is in current and this is velocity, angular velocity. If you drew the figure initially, let's say like this, and I am having another graph like this. Okay, I wanted it to touch like this, right? So we see that for the second graph, this is second and this is 1, and I told you second is having steeper or sharper thing, so second is better than compared to first, right? Why? See, second is having maximum current, right? The maximum current is here, whereas this one is having maximum current here only, right? Maximum current means the power will be maximum, right? So how much high the power is, that much increase in quality, right? So current can be seen when I can say that here, see, when I see this diagram, this is our omega naught. Let's say these two values. For this, I am going to take I by root 2 or IRMS by root 2, right? For corresponding to these 2 points, let's say this 2 point, right? That is for omega 1 and omega 2. Difference between omega 1 and omega 2, that is delta omega, is, let's say, larger. Why? Let's say for this one, having the sharper section, let's take another color, then it will be easier for you guys. This one, see, here delta omega is less, right? Earlier the delta omega was this one, and now the delta omega is this much. So I can say delta omega 1 is higher, delta omega 2 is lesser, right? This one, clear? With the steeper or the sharper one, delta omega 2, that is the half power bandwidth, is less. So I can say that as the angular or half power bandwidth it reduces, that much sharpness increases, or I can say that much is the quality of sound, or I can say that much improve sound quality, right? So to improve the sound quality, what should be high? IRMS should be maximum and delta omega should be less. IRMS, that is a peak value, should be maximum, and delta omega should be less. Clear? These are the two priority conditions which you require for having a good sound waveform. Clear? Now this and another small criteria which you have to learn is quality factor. Quality factor, or you can write it as just Q factor. Hence representation is Q. See, it can be represented by two values. Quality factor, it just says how much quality signal is. If the quality factor is, let's say, is 300, that means it is having, let's say one is quality factor 200, the other is having quality 100 only, means which is higher, this one. So just looking at the quality factor of a signal, I can say whether the signal is good to hear or not. This much understood, right? Now let's move on, guys. So there are two ways in which you can actually derive. First one, quality factor is given by voltage across L or C divided by voltage across R. That is, expression for quality factor is voltage across L and C divided by voltage across R. So you can take either inductor or capacitor. I am just going to take just inductor. So what is voltage across inductor? Current into resistance of inductor, which is reactance. I will write it as XL. What is voltage across resistor? It is I into R. I can cut I, so I will get XL by R. Right. Now XL I have learned it as, that is L omega divided by R. Right. Here. Now what is omega? 1 by root LC. So the numerator L, I am going to write it as root L into L. Right. So I can write it as root L, root C. 1 root L cancels out. Or I can say 1 by R into root L by C. So if you are asked in any question, find the quality factor of that circuit, then it is just 1 by R into root of L by C. This is the expression for quality factor. Clear? Now there is another way by which I can find quality factor, where quality factor's definition changes. That is angular. This is what you have been, or which has been mentioned in your textbook. Angular resonant frequency divided by half power bandwidth. Now what is angular resonant frequency? It is omega naught. What is half power bandwidth? It is delta omega. Right. So omega naught, I can write it as 1 by root LC. Now what is delta omega? There is another expression which you have to learn, that is delta omega is also written as R by L. This is a new one you have never heard. That is, if you want to know the bandwidth or half power bandwidth, you just have to find the ratio of R and L. Right. So in place of omega, I am going to write it as R by L. So it becomes L by R root LC. Right. Or equal to, you will get quality factor is equal to 1 by R root of L by C. You got the same expression as that of the previous one. Clear? Right. This is just something which is asked in your numerical sections only. Right. So when delta omega, right, goes on reducing, right, when delta omega reduces, then I can say quality factor increases. Right. When omega naught increases, then quality factor increases. So by looking at a graph, I can say if the sharpness is high, that means higher quality. Clear? Right. Now let's move on to the next section, guys. I will do some problems. Okay. So first numerical problem. For that, I want to tell you regarding a small topic which is time constant. Right. That is, I might have told about time constant in the earlier chapter, I think in electromagnetic induction. So in AC section also you are having a time constant. If someone asks you what is the proper definition of time constant, the time constant is a proper time which is required by any factor, whether it is voltage or current, to reduce from its maximum value to 63% of its value, right? To just reduce from its higher, or I can say to fall from 100% to 63%. How much time that resistor or capacitor or an inductor takes is known as what? Time constant, and it is represented by tau. This much is clear, right? And in a RC circuit, right, time constant is written by 1 by RC. Clear? Simple, right? So you will write it as tau is equal to 1 by, I think I have taken this one in some section. I don't remember from where, but I have taken it. I don't remember where. Right. Now, similarly, if you are asked what is the time constant of an inductor, right, how would you write? So it is damn sure that there will be a parameter of what? L and R. So that also plays, right? It is also written as tau itself. So in RC circuit it is 1 by RC. In RL circuit or LR circuit it is L by R. Right? So time constant for an RC circuit is 1 by RC, and for an RL circuit or LR circuit is L by R. Right, this was something which I had to take during our earlier class. I forgot. Okay, do a small question, guys. As you can see, it is a 2016 NEET question. So an inductor 20 millihenry, a capacitor 50 microfarad, and a resistor 40 ohm are connected in a series across a source of EMF V is equal to 10 sine 340t. Power loss in the AC circuit. I took the question because you have never heard about power loss. Okay. So if maximum current which can flow in the AC circuit is IRMS, then obviously the power loss, it is only due to what? In an AC circuit which is having LCR circuit, always keep in mind the energy loss is only due to resistance. The inductor and capacitor doesn't cause any energy loss. So then you will ask, even then LC circuit you told about if it is not a pure LC circuit, there will be some losses. That loss is not neither due to capacitor nor due to the inductor, but due to this wire. This wire will have some resistance, right? That resistance will cause a heat, and that heat causes energy loss, right? So always the energy loss is due to what? Is due to resistance. That you have to keep in mind. So how can we solve this problem, guys? Right, so let me make this rubber larger so it is easy to rub. Okay, so that means you have to find power loss. Power loss means this obviously have P is equal to IRMS, that is a maximum flow current, into R. Right, so how can I find IRMS? You have only given voltage, so you can find it as VRMS divided by the resistance of the entire circuit is Z, right, whole squared into R. Now we have to find what is VRMS, what is Z, right? That we can find. You have been given V is equal to what? You have been given V is equal to what? 10 sine 340t, right? So that means what is VRMS? VRMS is equal to 10 by root 2, that is I naught by root 2, right? Now what will be XC? XC is equal to 1 by C omega, or 1 by omega C. 1 by C is how much? 50 microfarad, that is 50 into 10 to the power minus 6, and omega is how much? 340, right? Omega t, right? So obviously now I can write the values. You will get the value around 58.8 ohm. Similarly, what is XL? XL is equal to omega L, or L omega, that is 340 into L is 20 into 10 to the power minus 3. You will get around 6.8. So I can say XC is greater than XL, right? So obviously I can write that XC is greater than XL means the impedance equation is Z is equal to, why it is not writing, Z is equal to root of what, R squared plus XC minus XL whole square. Even if you write XL minus XC, it's okay because you are going to square it, but I'm just telling you what should be the logic actually. So you will write 4R squared as 4 squared, right, plus 58.8 minus 6.8 whole squared, you will get around root 43040, right? That is our impedance value. Right, now you have to we have found what, both IRMS and R, sorry, VRMS Z, right? So just calculate now. P is equal to, what is IRMS squared, that is VRMS, that is 10 by root 2, right, divided by root 4304 whole square into 40. You will get around 0.51 watt. That is your answer. Clear?